297. It would be the highest run chase in their Test cricket history in Asia. So, lots to talk about on the Following On Cricket podcast with talkSPORT. So, Harmy, I know you've had a busy day today, haven't you, by the way? You've obviously been commentating on India, New Zealand, full concentration on that, but also as well watching Pakistan versus England. When you look at that, and you look at the scorecard, and you see 36 for 2, and you see that number feels like a big number, 261 more runs to win, especially when you consider the nature of this wicket, how much it's turning. But it feels like if there's any England team in history that could knock those off and get through it quickly, it's this England team. What chance did you give them going into day 4, mate?
Yeah, you have to give them a chance because of the track record and the history that Ben Stokes and Brendan McCullum's team have got. I think you look down at the surface and you look where the pitch has been and what has happened in this contest. You know, the big shot seems to be the one that has succumbed. You know, we've seen Crawley coming down the wicket to try and hit the big shot, missed it, duck it at the end, you know, playing a big, expansive sweep shot. I think it's getting harder and harder, not just to score on, but to score boundaries and hit big shots on. And that's what this team's made their mark on. So I give it a good chance if Root gets in and gets going and plays in innings of Joe Root style, which would be to absorb pressure, you know, move the ball around, rotation of strike, very, very good, like he did in the first test in Multan. And then one of, you know, Brook and Stokes comes in to batter with him and put a hole in it. And that, for me, is how I think the game plan will go. I still think Pakistan, on that surface, that is a new low for Pakistan if they don't win from here. I do think that is a new low. I mean, they have come after this first test match against Multan at rock bottom, dropping Babar Azam and, you know, the two fast bowlers. But if they don't win, you know, fourth innings, 300 runs or just under 300 runs on the board, I mean, that is it for Pakistan for me. I mean, you are really scraping the barrel because of what this surface looks like.
Knowing Pakistan, if they were to lose this test match, it wouldn't surprise me if they recalled Babar and probably made him captain. Just to go full Pakistan crazy in one test series.
Yes, no. But you wouldn't put it past you. I mean, that's the beauty in the world cricket about Pakistan and the West Indies. And that's why we love this beautiful game. When Pakistan are an absolute sort of schmozzle, it's great fun. It's the same as the West Indies.
Pakistan,
it is. It's fun. It is fun. And I don't mean that to try and sort of take the mickey out of them. But this is just what the fun of the fair comes with Pakistan. They batted. I thought when you look at the way they came out and played, 127 runs overnight. You're ahead. I'm thinking England don't want to be chasing more than 250, and I thought England let them get away. I think it was better from Bashir. In what I've seen, I thought his lengths were more consistent, but I still look down there. And I go, right, he's got 4 for 66 off 19 overs, which looks quite good. But you go, no maidens, and I know he's just young, and so there is still some inconsistency there. Jack Leach bowled nicely as well. I think just the consistency. I think the consistency of getting in an over and out of an over. He either goes runs at the early part of the over or runs at the end part of the over. Ben Stokes will probably counter that and come back at me and say, I'm wanting to try and take wickets. I'm wanting to try and, you know, make the over an event to try and make correct pressure in the over, and he's just over pitching or he's bowling a bit too short to try and create something that's happening. I thought Carson Potts again were magnificent. I think Carson's really been good. He's a massive find for England. I knew that was going to happen. My worry is that we break him, and he looked as though he was limping towards the end of the innings. But I think that was more toe. There was a lot of talk about him having a few sort of boot issues, so that'll go away. That's not a problem at all. But I think when you look at it, 300 runs just looks a lot, and especially when you've got Sajid Khan, who come in at number 10, and he batted 45 balls for 22, and that partnership is probably that could be the game winning partnership at the end.
Felt like that was the game changer.
Yeah, England chasing 235, and then England chasing 295. I mean, psychologically, that's massive.
England were bowled out, seems a long time ago now, for 291 very early on this morning. So Pakistan had a lead of 70 runs going into the third innings. You said to me on yesterday's podcast, England wouldn't want to chase anything over 150. So given the fact that Pakistan had a deficit of just over 70 runs, England needed to be pretty much non-perfect with the ball and in the field as well. And Salman, who ended up going on to be their top scorer, he made 63. And there was that over when he had just come in. He was on 3 and he was dropped twice in the over. The Jamie Smith one, I'm sure that if he was given a chance like that 100 times again in his test match, he would catch it every single time.
Yeah, he'll catch it.
And then 2 balls later. The Root one, a little bit tougher. He was very close in. He had a helmet on the first slip. But though that moment, it felt like it could end up costing England the game. Is that fair?
Yeah, well, it cost them the game, possibly, but 99 times out of 100, Jamie Smith catches it. Yeah, we're tired bodies. You give, Jamie Smith's in the infancy of his career. He's not been to that part of the world and kept for that length of time. And being up to the stumps, as close as he is to the stumps, in the heat and everything that goes with it. So you give him a little bit of leeway, but still, he should be catching that. Joe Root, again, another tired body and tired mind. I'm putting a hell of a lot of onus on Joe Root coming out to bat. He's 12 off 26 balls. He's going to have to win the game for England for me here because of the way he plays. And you've got to remember, less than a week ago, he got 262 and he was out for more or less 3.5 days in the game apart from 8 balls. So mentally, it's going to be a challenge. I think mentally it was a challenge today. What you see is when it comes to indecision and in mistakes. I don't put the drop catches down to some of them to mistakes because Joe Root put himself in that position with a helmet on to get close. If he's in a regulation slip fielding position, it drops 3 or 4 yards short of him, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. It's the same as young Bashir, out of fine leg, ball went to him, or deep square I think where he was, ball went out to him. But having played a lot of cricket in that part of the world, you'd rather the ball come flat at you rather than looping at you. He's lost it in the sky. He's lost it in the sky, lost it in the sun, lost it in the atmosphere, like the thick smog and the pollution that's out there, trying to work out where you need to be as the ball's coming in the trajectory it's on. And he had bowled a lot of overs, young, tired mind, and he just completely misjudged it. So all these things went against England. We've commentated on a game today where New Zealand bowled India out for 46. The reason why they bowled them out for 46 is because every single quarter of a chance, never mind a half chance, went to hand, right position, bang caught, and that's the difference between. That's what happens in cricket, unfortunately.
When England come out to bat tomorrow, what's the key then? Is it a simple case of we're going to see sweep? I know Ben Duckett got out playing the sweep shot, but on a wicket like this that's turning as viciously as this, do you think the only way to score runs, the only way to survive, is to get that big stride outside of the line and sweep and reverse sweep?
I think the conversation probably between Pope, Root, Brook and Stokes will be don't leave your mate dying in a hole. 3, 4, 5 balls. If there's going to be a huge amount of pressure put on by Pakistan with their field positions, with their bowling into the pitch, getting the ball to turn, so making sure that retention of strike. The bowler bowls more than 3 or 4 balls at the same batter, puts him under pressure. That will be something that I think England will try and alleviate very quickly. You'll probably see maybe early in try and put pressure on the bowler by coming down the wicket, hitting a couple of boundaries and moving the field back, and then try and work a way of getting the ball round it, whether it's coming out to your crease like what Zach Crawley tried to do, which just got completely off balance, and hitting the ball to a fielder that's in the deep out on the ground, or like you say, being able to access the sweep, both reverse sweep and conventional sweep, to try and hit fielders. I think the plan would be, once they start getting in, to put fielders onto the boundary by hitting the ball over the top of the fielders, and then once them fielders get to the boundary, then just start hitting them along the ground and try and give Pakistan the run around. But the minute there's a bit of pressure built up, 5, 6, 7, 8 balls in a row, and there's a bloke dying at one end, then you're going to start seeing a lot of chirp from Rizwan and the fielders around.
Chirpy, by the way.
He's very chirpy. It's great, mate. I think he's excellent. I think Rizwan is very good behind the stumps. And when he gets going and he's good, that's when the pressure, because you can hear it in your ear all the time.
I tell you what, one thing though about him that is hilarious. Yesterday there was a period where anything that came his way, he would just throw in the air and appeal. And then the irony yesterday, there was one, what England batsman nicked edge behind yesterday? One batsman edge behind yesterday. And he was the only player that didn't even go up for the catch. He was given not out on field. I thought, how can you appeal for 100 balls in a day and then one that takes a thick outside edge? He had no interest in the Army.
Yeah.
He had no interest in
I remember that. And he took the stumps as well so many times. We're sitting here in London above the eye line. You see there's a load of cranes around and there's some building going. And you can imagine, Rizwan being a very, very good demolition man pressing the button, can you? One of them great big balls on a chain that goes and smashes into buildings. Where he's like, every time he doesn't take the bills, he takes the base of the stumps.
And then the umpires have to
come and do it.
Back in. And I just think of Bumble shouting, "Get on with the game!"
Yeah, get on with the game. Yeah,
honestly. I mean, if you were playing against,
it's good fun for the game, though.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to play against him, though.
You would.
He would annoy. He would annoy.
Keep it.
Well, to be fair, he would make you want to bowl his head a little bit more than I would normally do.
You haven't got to bowl too short to get.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's a good player, great player, good character. And when you're in that part of the world, you need a keeper who can give you energy. Rishabh Pant does it for India, and Mohammad Rizwan does it brilliantly. He keeps the fielders going, he keeps the atmosphere going, he keeps the energy going. And if he goes off a cliff and starts being quiet, then as a team you've got Pakistan where you want them.
Just one more question on the England bowlers. We spoke a lot this week on the podcast about Leach and Bashir, but a lot of overs obviously on this Multan wicket. But Potts and Cast in this Test match taking 8 wickets between them, which I don't think it's too bad going when you think about
the ball brilliant.
All we spoke. Just looking a bit more long term at both of them, because we know that obviously Jimmy got moved along in the summer. We know that Stuart Broad's retired. Kind of as England build towards the Ashes series that's already been spoken about next winter. When you look at both these two guys, long term, what roles can they play with England both individually? Where they can be at their best?
Individually, I'm pleased for Cast. I've made no sort of bones about it. I think Cast is going to be I think he's going to be England's number 8 going forward. I think he'll be 8 in the Ashes. I think he's England's quick bowler. I think if we can keep him fit, where the one that I'm more pleased for, because like I said, I've said it a couple of times to Man, as I said to you the other day, I feel sorry for Matt Potts in a way, because he's always going to get overlooked. Because whatever game he's going to play in, if he plays with Cast, everybody's shouting about Cast. He's going to come further down the line and play in big games with Wood and Archer. And they're all going to talk about Wood and Archer bowling at 95 mile an hour. So, Potts has shown on these wickets, flat wickets, he can perform. He can be relevant, and he can get wickets. He did that in the summer with the Kookaburra ball for Durham, and now over in Pakistan, he's shown England that he can do it on flat wickets, and that is I think that's a great quality to have. So going forward, if you're looking at the Ashes on flat wickets with Kookaburra ball, you put Archer and Wood into this equation, then you throw in a bit of Cast, then you've got some Potts, a left arm option if we can get it in, Stokes fully fit. All of a sudden, we're starting to build a group of bowlers who we can potentially get 20 wickets all around the world with pace, and I think that's the encouraging thing for me about these two boys this week.
And with the batting, you mentioned Rutenbrook and Stokes and the onus that will be on them, but also let's not forget Ollie Pope. He goes in not out on 21, and it feels like with Pope that I don't know what you thought about him, but I think he's had some really unfair criticism.
Yeah, 100%.
I think some of the stuff in the Sri Lanka series when he was captaining, I felt like some of the criticism came his way was a little bit personal about him as a character, as a personality. And okay, look, with the bat, probably didn't have his best summer, but he did finish it with 100. He goes in not out unbeaten on 21. He feels like Ollie that if there is ever any kind of question marks that come about his form, his place in the team, he always seems to get a score when it really matters.
He does, and that for me is what Ollie Pope's been about with his career, when he's had a bit of a lull and then he comes out of nowhere and gets a ridiculous score. Hyderabad first Test match when he just didn't look like getting a run. So this could be Ollie Pope's. I hope it is for his sake. He was captain 6 out of 7 Test matches. He won 6 out of 7. So I agree. I think some of the criticism he got throughout the summer was disgusting. I thought some of the former captain questioned his, I think, personality, which I didn't like. But his game, he has to front up because he hasn't had the scores he would like as a top order number 3 international batter. He's 21 not out off 30 balls. If he comes in tomorrow morning and gets off to a good start with Root, and if Root can play that anchor role like he did in that first Test match with Brook at either side of him, all of a sudden England might have a chance.
Homie, good stuff. We look forward to it. Let's end on a positive note. At what time tomorrow, do you reckon, will England chase these runs down?
well, what do you like? 260. So you're looking at it's going to be a long way into the day. So it could go all the way to the final knock-ins. England to win at what 20 overs to go left in the day, 70 overs, or what I think might happen is Pakistan win just before tea time. England falling 25 runs short, 30 runs short.
England goes to the close on 36 for 2. Poper's 21, Root has 12. England needing a further 261 runs to victory in the second Test match. You've been listening to the Following On Cricket podcast. Sam Ellard, Steve Harmison, back again tomorrow.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.